Hello and welcome to Topical Top Tens here on the Football 365 show. I am your host, Mark Smith. I'm here with Matt Stead, Deputy Editor of Football365.com. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Mark.
Hello. What's our top 10 this week, please?
Our top 10 this week is top 10 turtlenecks.
Oh, right. Top 10 turtlenecks. What is it really, though?
It's top 10 Premier League virgins this week, Mark.
Yeah. Is that why you're dressed like one?
There's absolutely no need for that whatsoever, is there?
There is. It looks like you're about to do an apology on Newsnight. This is unacceptable. So this is not on brand. No, I don't like that at all.
As well. It goes with the whole identity here.
It's genuinely, I'm embarrassed. It's disgraceful. I hope you can redeem yourself with your list. But having seen it, I'm not sure you can. So, number 10, we've got Mohammed Salisu. Matt Stead, why is he our number 10?
He's on number 10 because he's joined a Southampton team who obviously they're renowned for being able to develop young players. He's a 21-year-old, just arrived from La Liga. He's only had one season of professional first-team football, but in that season he's performed very well against Real Madrid, not so good against Barcelona. Lionel Messi pretty much tortured him. Yeah. But aside from that, he's very much of that kind of mould where Southampton develop them and then they end up going to Liverpool or Man United or wherever.
So it's part of the Southampton feeder club regime, is it?
Very much so, yeah.
Well, I hope they moved on from that. I feel like they might have moved on a little bit from that. It doesn't seem like the same setup as they had a few years ago. Do you think that there's any truth in that? Do you think any of these players now are going to stay for 3, 4, 5 seasons, or is it just a case still that they're going to bring players in, improve them, and move them on?
I think there's a possibility with Hasenhüttl there. He's a manager that I think players really do want to play for. I think whereas before you had like Mark Hughes there and Pellegrino there, where there wasn't, Southampton kind of lost their way a little bit, whereas I think Hasenhüttl kind of restored that a bit. So I think players they'll want to stay a bit longer. There's always a case where they'll move up if they can and if there's clubs after them. But I think there's a chance they'll keep him for a few years, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Number 9, we've got Ferran Torres at Man City.
We do, yeah. He's inherited David Silva's shirt number at City, which is...
It's a big shout.
Quite a big task to take on. Obviously, he's come from Valencia, who was there. He joined them at 6, so it's very much a case of him basically starting a new life, new country, new club completely. He's only ever been used to the way that Valencia do things. Obviously, they've had their own struggles recently with changing managers, whereas with City, kind of... And there's always a thing with City where they don't really bleed in their forwards that well, I don't think. I think Mahrez kind of gets inconsistent game time under Guardiola. Gabriel Jesus the same. So it'll be interesting to see if Torres can actually break into that first team.
So he's got David Silva's shirt number and he's essentially taking Leroy Sané's place. So there's a lot of pressure on him. Is he likely to... I mean, you mentioned there about Mahrez and integrating new forwards. He's not in the first team. If you're going, everyone's fully fit, playing a big game. He's not in there, is he?
I wouldn't say so. No, not initially. Certainly, I think he might be kind of bedded in slowly by Guardiola, and I think that's really all City need. They've always had that kind of strength in depth, especially in terms of the forwards. They've never really had it in terms of defence. They've never had strength in depth. They've had depth there, but they've never had strength there.
Never had strength there, ever.
No, never, not once. Whereas with Torres, I think there might be a case for the first few months, plays a few substitute games. He might play the League Cup and FA Cup, and then maybe by the start of the new year, he might be properly in the first team by then.
Yeah. Number 8, a player who I've seen a lot of in the Championship, and the first Championship player on this list to be graduating to big school, it's Kalvin Phillips.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting with Kalvin Phillips, because I think for a neutral, it can't go wrong, because either... If he's not very good, if he's not as good as Leeds fans have been saying, then Leeds fans look very silly, which is always fun.
He is good. I'm a Derby fan, and even I think he's great.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him a couple of times, and he does look quite good. Whereas if he is good, and if he does play as well as Leeds fans are saying, then England have actually got a good defensive midfielder for once. And obviously, he was in the latest squad. He might play this week in the next Nations League game, but didn't really get on against Iceland. I don't think that really hurt his case because that game was absolutely atrocious. But
well, that game was a write-off, though, right? Well, you can't judge anything on that. But he should get minutes at some point for England. And like you say, I think within a couple of months of Premier League football, regular Premier League football, I think we'll have a change in opinion on what an English a holding midfielder can be like. So although I love Declan Rice, very different sort of player. Right, number 7, we've got Arsenal's new centre-back, Gabriel.
Yeah, just Gabriel. We're not gonna try for the surname.
We're not going to risk
Gabriel.
the surname.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously he's joining a club who not really renowned most recently for their centre halves being awfully good. David Luiz, he has his moments. He has been good for the large part. It was during the lockdown period. He was fairly good. He had that bad first game against Man City and then kind of played himself back into a bit of form from there. But I think in terms of Gabriel, he's similar to a couple of players on this list where he's only had really one full season of professional first team football. And he's come from Lille, who he's played alongside Jose Fonte this past season, which, yeah. I mean, if you want a good master to learn from in terms of the English game, then you want Jose Fonte,
absolutely.
Don't you?
Yeah,
League One stalwart. So yeah, it'll be interesting, Gabriel, to see if you can. I think he will be a starter. And obviously, Arsenal, you could have had William Saliba as well for this list.
Yeah, I thought that. But you don't want to have too many players from one team on this list, as we'll find out later on. But Saliba, another one who looks great. And the only problem with him is that the hype already is about him. You know, he's been compared to Virgil van Dijk already. He's not played a game yet. So we'll see. But good luck, Arsenal fans. And centre-backs doesn't normally work out, or it hasn't done for about 20 years. Number 6 is our second Championship graduate. And again, a player that I love. It's West Brom's Matheus Pereira.
Yeah, he looks like a sensational player, doesn't he? I think West Brom have already got probably one of the bargains of the summer. They've signed him for 8.25 million, played a massive part in their promotion campaign. He, I think it was 16 assists he got. He didn't quite break Graham Dorrans' championship assist record for a single season, but you can't
Graham
judge players.
Dorrans underrated. I loved him.
Exactly, yeah. Well, he's absolutely sensational player. So if Pereira can live up to that kind of tag, then West Brom's got a decent player on that.
They're going to be a fun team to watch because Diangana's looking like he's going to sign permanently as well. But Matheus Pereira on the ball, I mean, he probably is quite one-footed. He's all left foot really, but his sort of low centre of gravity, he can turn so quickly and just get into these positions and make things happen between the lines. And his final ball, you're going to see some wonderful passes this season from him. I think you'll see plenty of assists and the dreaded assist before the assist that people tend to talk about a lot. He gets a lot of those as well. Right, number 5, United's new boy, Donny van de Beek.
Yes, the panic buy, according to Paul Merson.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't really understand that. He's a 23-year-old Europa League finalist.
Yeah.
Scored in Champions League quarterfinals and semi-finals. He's a title winner in the Dutch league, which I know you get Mattia Kesmans from there and you get Luis Suarez from there, so you can't really judge it based off that. Yeah, but he looks like, I mean, we've seen him play against Tottenham, we've seen him against Real Madrid and Juventus on that Champions League run, and he looks like such a good player. He looks like a perfect player for United in terms of, again, it's that depth in midfield where they don't have that at all. They've got Pogba and Fernandes, obviously, but then after that, you're kind of looking at Fred. You're looking at Fred or McTominay or Mata or Lingard, and it's just a massive. It's just a massive drop-off. So I think in terms of Van der Beek, he definitely helps them in terms of their tactical adaptability and in terms of if Solskjaer wants to rotate a few players, he can certainly help them there.
It also feels like a United player for some reason. He just looks right in that shirt.
Yeah, he does look a bit like United, doesn't he? Yeah, that's a strange one. He does look a bit
quite like smug. Right, number 4, it's our third and final Championship graduate. It's Eberechi Eze, who's gone to Palace, came from QPR. Again, looks fantastic.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interest in Eze in terms of he's joining a club who they've got a bit of a reputation, obviously, as just a one-man team with Zaha. And even last season, Zaha's performance has dropped off like massively. I think Palace were probably carried more by Ayew than Zaha were. Than they were by Zaha, sorry. So I think in terms of Eze, if he can kind of shoulder some of that burden as well, if he can help out there, that'll be definitely helpful for Palace. But another interesting thing is the fact that he is actually the most expensive signing in Roy Hodgson's entire managerial career. Is
that right?
Yeah, he's taken over Andy Johnson, which again, it's a massive tag, a massive burden to bear.
Yeah, well, Johnson was a club legend there, so let's see if he can do the same thing. I'm a big fan. Looking forward to seeing him. Number 3, we've got an even younger player, 18-year-old, who has become Wolves' record signing, Fabio Silva.
Yeah, this is an absolutely bizarre one where I don't think a lot of people can claim to have seen him play ever. I assume Wolves have, because it wouldn't be very sensible if they have spent such amount of money on him if they haven't seen him play. But I think for that kind of money, you're looking at someone he's started one game in the league, and in his entire career, he's scored, I think it's 3 goals. He's played about 21 games, which obviously the majority of them are substitute appearances. So Wolves are definitely they're spending 35.6 million on a teenager, and obviously it's all potential. So he'll get games this season. I don't think he'll be a regular starter. I think it's still Jimenez's position. I think I think so. He helps them. Yeah, he helps them if they want to play a different formation. Maybe if they want to play 2 up front, if they want to rest Jimenez. I don't think he'll be a regular starter, like I say, but it'll be definitely be intriguing to kind of see him develop. And
they won't lose money on him, even if they sell him in a couple of seasons. So many big clubs are after him that his value will remain, I think. On to number 2, and Timo Werner.
Yeah, we could have had anyone from Chelsea, really. Obviously, they've had a pretty remarkable summer. I think, for me, it came between Werner and Thiago Silva, because a 35-year-old... Yeah, a 35-year-old centre-half arriving with no Premier League experience. Obviously, played for big old clubs, but I think that's going to be intriguing to drop him into that Chelsea defence.
It's on a knife edge, that one, isn't it? Because that could go either way. He could be gone by Christmas, or he could be one of those players who has a wonderful renaissance in the Premier League.
Yeah, that's it. It'll be interesting to see. But in terms of Werner, I think we should probably talk about him being the actual entrant here. But yeah, in terms of Werner, I think obviously he was courted by Liverpool even longer than just throughout this summer. I think that says quite a lot about a player. He apparently rejected Pep Guardiola as well. So for him to be kind of approached by 2 of the best managers in the league, if not the best managers, for him to join Chelsea, it's going to be interesting to see how he fares in the Premier League. Obviously, he's got a bit of Champions League pedigree about him. He's been brilliant in the Bundesliga, and he's going to be dropped into that Chelsea forward line, which didn't really struggle for goals last season. They weren't bad in attack. That was never their problem, but it'll be interesting to see how far he takes them.
Well, and no mention of Havertz there. I mean, Havertz, I think, is now official. 90-odd million quid or whatever it is.
Yeah, could have had Havertz, could have had Ziyech as well.
Yeah. Chelsea's it's gonna be fun to watch Chelsea, I think, this season. And I mean that in the sort of nicest possible way, because they will concede goals, but I think they might score a lot. If they click, this team could do anything. Number 1, and it's a player who about 6 years ago was the reason why loads of people called James just looked awful online, because they suddenly started putting little accents on it. It's James Rodriguez, Everton's player. I'm not sure about this one. Why is he your number 1?
Yeah, he's not joined yet, but I think it's pretty much nailed on. He's had medical and stuff, and I think he wants to kind of rekindle that relationship with Carlo Ancelotti, who's I think one of the few managers who's ever really understood him and has ever kind of made a proper effort to integrate him into teams. And the thing with James is he's only 29. Like you say, 6 years ago, he was pretty much the most coveted player in world football. He won the Golden Boot at the World Cup. He had that massive grasshopper on his shoulder that time when he scored a goal.
Is he bringing that with him? Any news on that?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't know if that's one of the add-ons or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. I've not been privy to the negotiations, but we'll see. But I think with Rodriguez, it's a similar thing in terms of, even if he fails, it's going to be brilliant to watch. It's going to be great to see, especially at Everton, who kind of feel like they've been flitting in and out of these massive projects. They've obviously got Ancelotti, which is pretty much kind of do or die stuff, because you don't get that kind of manager in and then you don't back him in the transfer market. You've got to, and they have done so far this summer. So it'll be really, really great to see. That
concludes our top 10, Matt. But it's been such a wild transfer window, hasn't it, that this could all look completely different in a week or 10 days' time. Your top 10 might have changed entirely. So we'll have to wait and see.
We could have Thiago to Liverpool on there, or Messi.
Or could have Sancho. Yeah, there's all these players.
Yeah, we could have Sancho,
you might well see still. Cheers, Matt. If you want to get in touch with the show, guys watching at home, you can email us at theeditor@football365.com. Until next week, goodbye.